Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to it, the Pitch Side
Podcast.
Good to see you. You're
Good to see you
looking
too.
amazing in your new regalia.
New regalia.
Regalia.
What's the wait? What's the meaning of regalia? Like the meaning of regalia.
No, it's this thing you're wearing. It's the new regalia.
Yeah.
Don't stress about this regalia. And
Okay,
here,
the word.
you've got the traditional
Yeah,
side.
yeah,
So
I like
if
that,
you are
I like
lenyalong,
that, yeah.
ukaya apara.
Yeah, I like the tradition. Having to
like the
stay.
tradition?
Yeah, unique to your colors. It's unique.
Vila, we're looking back at our first Premiership match, 1-1 draw versus Chippa United. What I realized is as well, because we had even spoken about the fact that we hadn't seen this new built or put together team of Chippa United.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen any games,
Yeah.
but they did come out strong.
Yeah, and of course having to look at that Chippa United being led by Usne Temba,
Yeah.
who is of course his history and the background comes from Mamelodi Sundowns, having to have worked with the players. I think more than anything what he had engaged and what he has worked on is having the personnel, having to understand the personnel and seeing the advantages and the disadvantages of having to then try and scheme around certain players. And it worked out for him very well, but of course it shows him coming up in the right platform, in the right place to learn about the football game, and him also having to have that nod. But I think more than anything, I mean, it's those fixtures that have been difficult.
100%.
Chippa United has been those fixtures that have been difficult for so many seasons, and then of course having to play this game, and then of course first half you're able to find the goal.
Yeah.
Really good, but I think we just made things difficult for ourselves not getting the second one, whereby we clinched the game because the game kept being longer and longer, and as it goes longer and longer, it was unfortunate also how the goal came about, which was a deflection. I mean, some of those goals. What can you do with the deflection? Because Debs are there engaged, but what can you do?
Yeah, I've realized and I've seen that it's a trend that's coming up a lot where teams that play against us go with a back five. Taken from the Club World Cup, they've almost watched those games and said, if we play with a back five and then we also pack the midfield, we get to close those half spaces where the team likes to play. And I guess when that happens, that's where you need the team to be a little bit more patient in knocking the ball around until you find those gaps.
I think with that said, if we're able to penetrate that back five in the first half, whereby regardless, you can still put that back five. But I mean, with the personnel that we have, the skillful players that we have, Saleh's coming in, I mean, I enjoyed how he had scored that goal. It showed growth from him, and he continues to show that his hunger is available, and also Matthews having to come in and give that assist. You're still able to penetrate that, at times whereby you just need to even keep on proving. But having to do that, but also there's been certain things that you could take out of that game, as much as the positives, but from the positives, the youngsters coming in, bringing a great impact. Mabena came in, brought in a great impact on the side, where I still say that we can work on those side areas sometimes when sometimes we want to bring people in, but you can also take them outside, which is Mabena came in with that 1v1 on the side. There was penetration, the young boy also also came in with a different dimension. So as much as it looks so sour sort of with that draw away from home, but it's a big point. Trust me, it's a big point.
It's a big point.
It will go a long way coming out.
You know the story.
You know the story. It might sound sour. It might not be the greatest start or the greatest book where we want a victory away from home, and also put that away from home. It's never easy games. It's never easy. You are not entitled.
We need to talk about then, the one thing we saw looking at the Club World Cup is the small chances that teams get, they bury that ball. The strikers need to be a lot more clinical because unfortunately games come down to those margins that you look at the stats and you'll say shots on target maybe 6 or 7, but you only managed to score 1 goal.
But I think prior to the goal coming in, I think there was a moment whereby within the Chippa's defense there was a bit of hesitation, whereby I think Rangers couldn't anticipate much better
100%
and tried to be extra ready and use that opportunity whereby there was a miscommunication from those defenders that was leading up to the goal. And that's why I'm saying you're taking it back us to the Club World Cup, where with those margins, when you play at Dortmund,
they put it away.
But now find the second chance whereby Saleh came in, that was the same second creativity, you're able to put it out. So it's 2 and then 1. You missed 1 and then you had 2 opportunities created in that moment. So you can get better.
Vila, you've played the game at the highest level. we sit on the sidelines and we say, that one, get in, man. He could have just. How difficult is it?
I guess
put me in a position as a striker in the box.
Let me put you into it. You're saying get in, right?
Yeah.
And also, I'm with you with that moment of saying I should have scored that one.
Yeah.
And the intention for me was to score that one.
Yeah.
Arriving there, I wanted to score that one.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of execution in that moment. It's not because of I wanted to do it other way.
Yeah.
Because the intention for me, the clear intention was for me to score that goal.
100%.
It's just a matter of that small little detail of that last minute concentration of having to put it away.
Yeah. Then let's say you do get into that position and you don't put it away.
Yeah.
How much does then that play out when you get your next opportunity? Because then it's a barrier to you mentally as well.
You see, I smiled when you said that again because it could either go the wrong way or the good way. You try again.
You try again.
You try again because of, believe me, it's going to happen again. With Mamelodi Sundowns having to create so many chances, you just have to keep on trying again. Go again, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, for an example, there's a situation whereby there was a combination between Mshishi and Mabena.
Mabena.
Beautiful combination play. Just that moment whereby it just needed to be clinical.
Yeah.
But you know what? You try again, you know, you lift up your head again because it's going to come again.
Sure.
And sometimes when it happens and then you're able to find that breakthrough, now it keeps on flowing.
But in those instances, then you find a position whereby the fans are now on your back because the monkey is here.
Yeah.
They want you to put that ball away and you're not putting it away. Yeah. I cannot begin to imagine the amount of pressure, the amount of stress as a striker you have because the pressure is always on to say, 𝐏𝐲𝐶𝐞.
I smile about it. You smile because I remember now with my first debut and the expectations that people had and it wasn't going for me, but the confidence of saying I'm staying strong because of eventually I knew the same people that I were like in doubt a bit, eventually they will be with you when this thing starts to change, and also having the coach that backs you up.
100%.
The coach was able to back me up and back me up until I was able to unlock it.
Yeah.
And then when you were able to unlock it, they were like, okay, what are you saying now?
Yeah.
And the same people, when you find in the net, they keep on supporting you.
Vila, do you think as South Africa we have an obsession with getting and seeing players come through our development?
I think now he's starting to give a bit of a different dimension in terms of having to give those players, and we have been giving them a volume and saying give him an opportunity, but then now you're starting to see growth from them and able to say I'm ready now to start a game of football. But then being ready at the same time, you need a bit of guidance and allowing yourself also to get into these situations whereby you find situations whereby it's favorable, score is 4-1, put him in. Also, you want him also to adapt in situations whereby it's not so favorable and put him in because of those are the situations you're going to come up against in a game of football.
And those are the things that build character, right?
They build character. It's just finding the right timing, which I think it can never be the right timing until you do it.
100%.
And after then you have done it, then you're able to say, was it successful or not? But if not successful, what do you do again? You keep instilling yourself to try again, right? And then if not successful, but most cases as a nation, as we are winners, we want those obvious situations of say winning, but it doesn't happen. As ongoing. There are times whereby you're going to face those challenges where now it's a downhill.
Vila, I think wearing this badge is a very difficult task that people don't really fully comprehend because the pressure is to win every single game. You can't go anywhere and there's no pressure for you to win. How difficult is it then after a draw, because a draw feels like a loss, for you to then just wake up and pick yourself up for the next game?
I think like you have said, I think the most important thing that could make you go on from that is just to say reflect on it, because once you have reflected it and seen how then you did certain things within that game and did your corrections, that's when you're able to move on and say I can do better. So if then you reflect and see, because sometimes that gives you an indication, because you needed that to even now come in and say it's alarming, now I need to respond better. Because if you don't do your corrections, you're not going to be in a situation of saying I need to bounce back.
100%.
And you need to bounce back where? Having to come back home, because of now this is your fortress. And being in the fortress now, it means you need to now start over again. Because remember, they're still within the group. They're still within things that the guys have agreed upon as a group that they wanted to achieve.
I've had the privilege of watching a couple of the games, especially moving to our next game, which is Amazulu. A lot of the teams seem to be playing on the counter, so they don't mind soaking in the pressure and defending, and then catching you on the break. And from the past and from what we've learned is they can't catch you on the break if you have the ball, number one, and two, if your counter press is right. Do you think then moving into our next game, we need to be better at that? We need to be sharper at that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you are probing, you need to set up in a manner whereby if then there's a problem, you have perfectly set up your players in those moments whereby it can be very disadvantage for you, because that's what they're looking for. 100%. And it's typical. One is because of the personnel that you have and the capacity that you have. It makes them sit in that low block, and for you to find situations or find ways now how to navigate within that. But now the boys understand the duties of them having to now put pressure. Put pressure as much as you can, because of, I mean, those people will be sitting in a low block and entirely maybe the whole of the season, right? But eventually then when you find that break, you are able now to make them sort of unsettled. And 100%. Once you have them unsettled, that's when you try to look for a number two. And when it opens up like that, now you're pretty much playing, they're going to be playing in your hands.
We're going to our next game, and in our next game we're playing Amazulu. Amazulu, who have, I mean, the last game they won 1-0, so they're also on a high. In terms of approach, what are we changing? What are we doing?
I think both teams having Mamelodi Sundowns drawing one, and then now winning with the MTN 8. So it's a win and a draw. Whereas you have Amazulu, who had lost their MTN and then have a win. So both teams, I'd say at this stage, the momentum is there, but not so great. But then it's going to be an interesting one because of the momentum is not there yet. But then you're trying, as Mamelodi Sundowns, when you are playing at home, you're trying to bring that up a bit.
100%.
You're trying to now make this space. You make Loftus a bit louder, louder with the ball, louder with the efforts that you put in. I think at the end of the day, sometimes the effort you need to put in terms of able to see that what you're trying to do, the energy, to show that you want to come back, you want to rectify what has happened previously, and then put it in this game. It's not going to be an easy one, of course. I mean, you have Amazulu also, who are being coached by a good coach, others one, good quality players that they have there that can be able to be match winners for them. But it's progression for them. They're at a stage where they are building. But different from us is that we've been having like momentum from a Club World Cup, which I think I still like to see a Mamelodi Sundowns now having to take it a notch a bit.
100%, and bring that form back into the league. I'm seeing, I mean, they've got a strong team, a strong spine in Zungu, 𝐋𝐸𝐻𝐿, Phillies at the back, and seasoned campaigners on the left with Hanabe. And so my thinking is exactly that. What you're saying is we've got to show that the gap between us and them is there, because we're playing at the highest level.
There should be a gap. There should be a gap. I think that we shouldn't run away from it. And also because of that gap, when it's able to, that's us now speaking, but that gap needs to be shouldered inside the field. Play. The green grass, I think when that needs to happen, with that in terms of scoring goals, assist and all of this, they need to come out defending better. And I think the squad is very much capable. The squad is very much capable. Whoever that wears the Mamelodi Sundowns on the day needs to deliver. If not deliver, over-deliver. And I guess then the unfortunate side of this is that somebody one of these days is going to have to get a big beating so that people realize that the gap that we're talking about.
The gap we're talking about. And it's it's after games like the Chippa one, where you need the boys to really bounce back and put up their hands and show that they deserve to be in this
I think
team.
the hunger should be there, and I think that hunger will be there, and I know for sure, because there have been certain times whereby during my playing times we had that setback, and we needed to show, especially at home, and then we needed our people also to be convinced that we are back. And the only way to show that, I mean, is the extra running, the extra tackling, the extra goal, the extra concentration on the day, and having to say, give me the ball, defending better, and making the Yellow Nation proud.
Vila, let me put you on the spot. What's your score prediction?
Score prediction, I think Amazulu, I think at home, I think it's going to be a 3-0.
3-0?
Yeah, 3-0.
And who's scoring for you?
I think Salez will be on the score sheet. Reyners will be on the score sheet. I think a brace from Reyners and one from Salez, and maybe the 3 can go further. But I'm going to stick on the 3 for now.
Amazing. We do have some comments that have come in from you on our YouTube page. On YouTube, we have Ukatongo. David Only says, well done, guys. I'm all the way in Qatar, and I really just want to say I am proud and I support this team. Then we have Richard, who also says, welcome back to the pitchside crew. What you guys did in New York City is unbelievable. It hasn't gone unnoticed. You left an indelible mark We appreciate you. Yes, indelible.
Indelible.
Indelible. Shout out to you, Richard. And then Malad_Justed_SX says, needless to say, I'm a Buccaneer fan. However, I'm a great fan of the Pitchside podcast. At Diani Mabunda, you held it down very well. So shout out to you guys for leaving us your comments. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us more comments. And most importantly, Masandawana Arieng. Let's get behind the team. We are the Pitchside podcast. Masandawana.